Hey, this is Eric with TechnoRV, and today we're going to change out the anode rod on our Suburban water heater. And one of the ways that you can tell which brand of water heater that you have is the Suburban water heater will have the vent on the right hand side of the door here, and Atwood water heater will have a vent on the left side. So this is definitely a Suburban, and the Suburbans have a steel tank. And so to prevent corrosion, they use an anode rod, which basically this just kind of sacrifices itself for the greater good of your tank. And if you have an Atwood tank, they have aluminum tanks, and so an anode rod is not required, although sometimes people use them, but they're certainly not required. So let's go ahead and break this thing open and get in here and change this anode rod out. Okay, let's go ahead and get the door off here. Turn that off, and this door just comes off here. And so what we got here, just some of the major components of the Suburban water heater. You got your gas valves here, and they're controlled by a circuit board. You've got your thermostats behind this enclosure here, and then your burn chamber is in here, and then this is your burner tube, and this is your ignition probe right here. So that's kind of the major components of the water heater. And here's your pressure relief valve up here. And so the anode rod is basically right here. So, but before we take the anode rod off, there's a couple of steps that we need to go ahead and take care of. One is making sure that everything's shut off to the hot water heater, your gas and electric, and try and get some of that hot water out of the hot water heater tank. And I've got a 10-gallon tank here, so let's go ahead and take care of that first. This is the control panel in my fifth wheel, and my hot water heater has gas and electric, and I usually don't even run my gas, but step one here is to go ahead and just turn off the electric, and if you have the gas on, of course, turn that off as well. Once you've turned off the gas and electric to the hot water heater, then you'll just want to go ahead and just start running some hot water out, and go ahead and get the hot water out of the tank, so that whenever you pull the anode rod out and water comes out, that it won't be hot water coming out all over the ground. So you don't want to burn yourself. So we'll go ahead and let it run here until we get that out. Okay, now that we've turned off the gas and electric to the hot water heater and drained the hot water out, the tank's still full, it just doesn't have hot water in it now, which is going to be good. Here's some of the tools that you'll need to get this done. Of course, you'll need an anode rod, and that's what one looks like new. I'm a little bit concerned about what ours is going to look like when it comes out, because you're supposed to clean these units out at least every year and change your anode rod, and I'm over a year, so we'll see what it looks like. But anode rod, you can get this at TechnoRV.com. You also just need some threaded seal tape to go around the threads of the anode rod. And to get the anode rod out, you're going to need a 1 1/16 inch socket that'll fit right over that. And then these can be a bit difficult to get out, so I've got this little unit right here that's going to help me kind of put some muscle behind it. You can use a ratchet. Some people use a cheater bar. Impact wrenches can be real good. And then the only other thing that you'll need, and you can get this on TechnoRV too, is this allows you to go up into the tank. When the water's in your tank, the sediment will drop out of the water, and even when we drain the tank, you'll have a quart or so of water in the bottom that'll have all the sediment in it, and you really got to get that out of there. And this will do the job of making sure that comes out. So let's go ahead and get to work here. We're going to go ahead and take out the anode plug, and when I do this, water's gonna start coming out, and I'm just gonna put some muscle behind this and see if I can get it going. Okay, that wasn't horrible. Move this out of the way before water starts coming out. Alright, we ought to start getting some water here now. There we go. There we go. And so the water is the water's not hot right now because I've already drained the water out. And so there's what an anode rod looks like when it's used, and you can see this one's taking a pretty good hit. Now they can be much worse than this, so this isn't actually horrible, but it's certainly in need of changing. So we're just going to sit here and let this water drain out, and after that drains out, then we'll clean the inside of the tank, make sure all the sediment's out, and then we'll get the rod back in. Okay, so the water is out of our tank here. You see it's just a little dribble here now, and we have had a pretty decent amount of sediment coming out. You can see that. It's the kind of thing that's coming out, and so there's still more of this in the tank, because just by the nature of how these tanks are made, there's still probably a quart or so of water here at the very bottom, just because it kind of dips in below this point. And so we've got this. We sell these at TechnoRV.com, and it's basically a hot water heater cleaner, and you just basically stick it in here, and it's really just high pressure water, really high pressure water. That was only on about 1/10 of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, and you'll just want to angle that down like this, and then start pulling it forward. So you really want to make sure that you keep your hand on this, because if you don't and that thing jumps out of there, you're going to get wet. And I can see more sediment coming out of the tank, and then you can turn this thing and clean all up in the tank as well, because depending on how long it's been since it's been cleaned, sediment can set up on the walls of the tank too. I can really feel a lot coming out of here just on my hands. I mean, you can just see that we are in dire need of a cleaning here. Got my hand right here. I can feel the water coming out on it, and I can feel all the sediment hitting it. So I'm going to do this until I don't feel that coming out anymore. So this may take a little bit. So we'll come back here in just a little bit whenever I'm done. But again, turn it up to where you get up high, and you can see just more sediment coming out. And then again, turn it to where it's low, and then do this where you pull out like that to really get it. Yeah, a lot of sediment. This is doing good. This is a very useful tool. So I'm going to keep doing this. We'll come back in just a little bit whenever I'm done. All right, I've done this, I don't know, I've been at it for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm not feeling a whole lot coming out, but I really did. I mean, you'll be amazed. It's a great tool to have right here. Tammy's behind the camera looking at all the stuff coming out of this tank and wondering where hot water's been coming from this whole time. So you'll be much happier, right, Tammy?
Yeah.
Good, good. All right, so we're done here. And again, you can get that little tool right there from TechnoRV. That is a awesome tool. And simple but awesome. So now all we have to do is to put the anode rod back in. And then we'll turn back on our electric and gas, and this job will be done. So you can see the difference here. This is obviously the new one. This is you're supposed to do this at least once a year, and I don't know, Tammy, how long have we been? I'm almost afraid to say. It's been a year and 16 months. Okay, that's not good. You don't want to take you don't want to go that long, but we did, and we got away with it because the anode rod's still got some life in it. But nonetheless, I already put the red tape on here, so all that's left now is just to get this going, and then we'll get my ratchet back out, and then the job will be complete. Okay, now that we've got this finger tight here, you just get your ratchet back out and go ahead and tighten down to make sure this is good and secure here. And we've got that thread tape on there. You're not going to get any leaks out of this. You can test for that. Okay. All right, so the anode rod's back in, the tank's clean, and so the next step is to turn the water back on to the RV so that the tank can fill up. And then once we've given that time to fill up, then we'll go ahead and turn our electric on We don't use gas that much, but I could turn my gas on as well. But you just want to make sure there's water in the tank before you do that, or that can burn up your heating elements. So anyway, I'm going to turn the water on, and that's how you change the anode rod out in a Suburban hot water heater.